All right, guys, so first of all, thanks for waiting until the good part. No, I'm joking, but it's exciting to see that many quality companies here today and have all of you guys in the same place. So quick intro about myself and the company. My name is Yves. I'm one of the founders of Fieldwire. This is a company I founded with Javed over there. I'm a civil engineer by training. I didn't get to construction by mistake. I mean, I spent most of my summers growing up working on construction sites, though it was mostly residential. So start in paint, then you do carpentry, then you do electrical. And eventually I attended the Stanford construction program for civil engineering. So that was an exciting time because we're finally working on technology to bring to construction. But it was a very frustrating time as well because all the technology we're working on was used pre-project. So it was like, how do we design better building? How do we do high-level project management tools? But very little was done for the guys that were on site. And so that's why we ended up founding Fieldwire 2 years ago, which is a construction app that really focuses on solving the problem of the people that are on site. And basically, we focus on the use case that you're going to encounter between a foreman and maybe a field engineer and an associate PM on site. So Fieldwire is really about making field operation more efficient. So we all know the problem. Running construction on site is very, very hard. We have a ton of people on site. We have to move material, move equipment efficiently. And we're trying to do that across 20, 30 subs, right? And so none of the subs share any technology other than simply emails and text, phone calls, and paperwork. So what is the result of that? I mean, some of you are familiar with that curve. Like, this is the labor productivity in the US industry from 1960s to today. It's definitely not going up. And so, this is definitely something to look into. Has construction not progressed over the 60 years? Absolutely it has. We design better buildings than ever. We plan better projects than ever. But the problem is we still run construction on site the same way we were doing it 20 or 30 years ago. And that's where 90% of the money on a project goes, and that isn't being spent better. If you look at the micro details on a construction site, it's not a talent problem. The craftsmen are good out there. The thing is that they only spend about 30% of their day actually performing their craft on site. 70% of the time of a craftsman on site is spent doing other things. So they're preparing tasks, they're requesting materials, they're asking for, equipment that are not there in time, they're asking for additional instruction to perform a specific task. And so we're not going to teach people to build better, but we're going to help them reduce that 70% to as little as possible on site. And there is a unique opportunity right now that we didn't have before, is that mobile phones, mobile tablets are arriving on site. And this is a technology that construction can be successful with. I mean, we all know that construction is not the best industry to adopt technology. We're usually pretty slow at doing that. But the difference here is that the guys are buying cell phones for themselves. They're training themselves. And today you can start deploying apps on site where a foreman is going to be immediately productive with it if the app is good enough. And so that's what Fieldwire wants to be today. We're a mobile collaboration app. We're basically an end-to-end collaboration platform that handles the use case you're going to find on site for your foreman, your supers, your field engineers, and your PMs. And so basically we're a collaboration platform structured around plans and trades. We're a vertical solution that is focused exclusively on construction. So to give you an idea, this is a typical use case. Like this would be, for example, in safety inspection use case. So your foreman on site can access, of course, all his plan, all his markups directly on his phone. It can be an iPad, an Android, a tablet, doesn't really matter. Let's say that he finds a rebar that doesn't have caps on it, can just document it, report it, assign it to the rebar team, assign it. And basically, as soon as that thing goes into the system, it's tracked centrally, it's prioritized, and you're guaranteed that as soon as somebody has some bandwidth, it's going to be taken care of. If it's not taken care of, you can go talk to the sub to make sure that it does. So what are some of the use cases we do? So mobile plan viewing, anything basically from your field engineer, like doing version control in the office, to marking up your plans, reporting progress photos, and basically producing the best has-built you've ever seen at the end of a project. Anything around issue tracking, punch listing, inspection. So this is really about any intensive recording activity that you can run on site, where you're going to take a lot of photos, fill a lot of checklists, etc. We run that super efficiently, and at the end of the day, you produce very high-quality report without having to manually put them together in the office. tasking and scheduling. This is where we have our best use case today. We're a task management platform, and construction is a task-driven business. So people today import their tasks directly from their Primavera or their Microsoft project plan. Then you can run basically your foreman meeting on Fieldwire directly. Make sure you don't have collision between trades. And at the end of the day, when the foreman go on site, I mean, not at the end, at the beginning of the day, when the foreman go on site, they take all that information with them. And if they need additional information, if they have questions, they can just ask for those directly in the task in the context of a location and of a trade. And at the end, other than that, like you get real-time progress when somebody's done, and you get the best archives and reports you've ever seen at the end of a project. So today, I mean, we have over 1,000 clients, primarily in the US, Canada, UK, Australia. Like anybody from small GCs, your $50 million GCs or specialty subs, all the way to multi-billion-dollar company like Kojima, Shimizu, Elisdon. I mean, you name it, there's plenty of those guys. And so our focus is really to make those people more efficient in the field. So I'll try to show you a quick demo if we have 1 minute. To make that a little bit more illustrated. Yeah, it's on the other side. Thank you. So this is how we make your foreman on site like way more basically powerful to make sure they can use their time effectively. Do I have to switch the source on the screen?
I'll just find your, there you
go. Okay, takes a little bit of time. All right, good. So this is the typical view you're gonna get from a project. So we're basically a task management platform, and you can look at it in different ways. So of course, this is a sample project, very few plans here, but you can look at your task on the different sets of drawings that you're tracking. I mean, basically your architectural set, your structural set, that kind of things. But you can also look at it on basically a very task-focused Kanban board. So this is how you're going to look at it if, for example, you're running punch list or you're running a handover to a client. So everything is priority-based, and basically the goal is to get to the bottom of it and be done with it. If you're running a foreman meeting and you're importing, for example, the task from a different from the project plan, you're going to look at it in a pool planning type of context where you look at the next 3 weeks, and basically people are going to be able to drag tasks, and you can make sure that your subs are not colliding with each other, who is working on what, etc. So if I go into a very even more detailed use case, let's imagine that you're trying to run an inspection, and to do that very quickly. So I'm going to go on an old task, and let's say we're trying to run like an inspection on the paint sub. So I'm just going to create a task in that room and say, for example, inspect paint. So I'm going to assign it to James Foreman, which is the foreman on that team, and I want it to run very quickly, so I'm going to make it an important task. So you can see like the text entry is very quick. When you're running that on iPhone, it just makes the guys very productive. So that's great, but that's not really a proper inspection task until you add like checklist to it. So I can run individual checklist item, but most of our project have like hundreds of templates for the various checklists that they're running on site. So here I have only one, which is the wall paint. And that's it. And my job is done. I've created one item. I have 100 rooms to inspect. And so at that point, I can just duplicate that task and basically put one on every single room. And that gives you an idea. And so at the end of the day, I can look back at the tasks, and I can see, for example, for my pen sub, he has all his, basically high priority items, and my foreman is going to go out there and do it properly. And so when you show that around site to the guys that are running those checklists, for those who are running checklists, to the foremen that are trying to organize their work very precisely, it makes them super powerful. So come talk to us after the thing. I mean, Fieldwire is free, up to 15 people, unlimited sheets, unlimited drawings, so don't hesitate to try it out.